Robin here again from Susu Naturals. Today I'm going to show you how to make neem oil bar soap. Neem oil is really great for skin conditions. I have a couple of customers with very painful flare-ups of eczema and psoriasis. Neem oil comes from a tree from India, and the seeds, they produce this oil from the seeds, full of wonderful antioxidant properties, and it is good for scalp conditions and skin conditions. So I have a lot of requests for neem oil bar soap. That's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So let's get going. This is a soap mold, a silicone soap mold. It is a 2-pound mold and it's round. And it goes together like so. What I have found with silicone is when the hot soap batter gets put into it, sometimes it gets a little loose-ish, so I clamp the sides shut just to prevent any possible leaking, and I do that with these big binder clips. Once again, down below I will give you the recipe and the sources for all the stuff you need to make this. So we shall put this soap mold in a container just to help it stay upright. Okay. Once again, soap is made with water and sodium hydroxide, which is lye, very caustic, very dangerous. When you add the two together, the lye water zooms up to about 200 degrees and can burn you. So we suit up with protective eyewear, rubber gloves, and long sleeves, which is a really great idea. If you tend to be a little sloppy and some soap batter gets on your skin, I keep a little container of cider vinegar near my sink. And cider vinegar, if you start to feel a little burn from a drop of something, the soap batter or something, just rinse off with the apple cider vinegar, and that'll neutralize it. This is not a project for children, I don't think. Sodium hydroxide is a dangerous chemical, and if it is something you want to do with older children, the strictest of supervision is required. We got our rubber gloves. First off, we're going to measure our water, and you notice my digital scale. My digital scale weighs ounces, milliliters, and grams and pounds. Also has a tare feature, T-A-R-E. So you notice when I turn it on, it's 0, yet when I put my container on it, it's going to weigh the container. And this container is 1.9 ounces. However, I don't want to weigh the container, I want to weigh what's in the container. So I press the tare button and it takes away the weight of the container. And we are going to measure out 4.9 ounces of distilled water. If you use tap water contains trace minerals, can affect your soap. I just don't use tap water. Or you could probably boil your tap water and that would be good. All right, 4.9 ounces of distilled water. Set that aside. In a separate container, we are going to hit the tare button, and we are going to measure out 2.3 ounces of sodium hydroxide. Looks like sugar. Be very careful. 2.3. For this recipe, I'm going to use the room temperature method to make this bar soap. When you add the sodium hydroxide to the water, that is going to shoot up to about 200 degrees. Really, really hot. That's sufficiently hot to melt the solid oils that we're going to use. Traditional bar soap making, you heat the oils on the stovetop till they liquefy, but I found that it's not necessary in this method, and I kind of been using this method with great success. The room temperature method. You don't have to mess with the stove and pots. So let us get our oils container. Okay. Apron to protect the outfit. I have just a plastic container, and we're going to put that right onto the scale. Hit the tare button, and we are going to weigh out 7.5 ounces of olive oil. I use 100% pure virgin olive oil. 7.5 ounces. Going to hit the tare button again, and we're going to add 5 ounces of coconut oil. Once again, 0.8 ounces of shea butter. I use the ultra refined, which is a nice creamy white color, and an equal amount of castor oil. Tear out your scale. 0.8 ounces of castor oil. Okay, there you have your oils. There is our water and our sodium hydroxide. So okay, cardinal rule that you must never ever break. You never ever pour water into the dry sodium hydroxide. The chances of it splashing and exploding up in your face are quite high. I've never done it, but that's what I've read. You always, always, always pour the dry into the liquid. It's gonna increase in heat like instantly and make like a hissing sound. First time it happens, it scares you to death. But this heated lye water solution is what we're going to pour into the oils and stir it around, and the heat from the lye water is going to melt the solid oils, the coconut oils. So here we go. Protective eyewear just in case. I got vinegar at the ready. Good grief. I can't see without my prescription glasses. All right, here we go. All right. It's getting super hot. Stir to dissolve, and very, very carefully pour into your oils. Do not splash. Throw everything right in the sink. So you can already see the coconut oil, which is the white stuff, is starting to melt. And we'll just stir a little bit, and here in a minute or so, everything will be melted. The next thing we're going to do, in order to speed up the incorporation of the lye water and all these wonderful oils, is we're going to use a stick blender, and we are going to bring the soap batter to something called trace. It gets progressively thicker and thicker, like a pudding. And now we take our stick blender blend. Now, you may wonder, she's not added any neem oil whatsoever. Get this batter completely incorporated for a few minutes by intermittent stick blending. And we, at this point, are going to add 0.8 ounces of neem oil. Neem oil is thick and yellow and doesn't smell really nice, but that's the price one pays, I guess, for beneficial properties. And an equal amount of avocado oil. Tear out your scale. Goodness right into this mold. All right, so this is a 2-pound mold and it filled it up maybe 2/3. So we're going to get about a pound and a half of soap bars out of this. What we do now is insulate. You don't want your soap bars to cool too quickly. Because the color will be uneven. It will be fine to use. Sometimes if it cools too quickly, the center will be a slightly different color. It's just strictly aesthetics. But what I do is I drape a dish towel over the whole thing, and it just helps it to cool a little bit more slowly. And that is going to sit until tomorrow, 24 hours. And I'll be back and we can unmold and cut our neem oil soap bars. Okay, it's been overnight. Actually, it's been a full day since we molded our neem oil soap, and now we're going to cut it into bars. It's also exciting. I've put a piece of parchment paper here, and here is there is our soap mold. I had it insulated all night. Let's see, I'll get the clips off of here. And this just pulls apart. Neem oil soap is a very soft soap. So what we have to do now is we cut it into bars, and it has to cure for about a month. Here you can see some of the neem oil is on the edges, and that's okay. Okay, what I have here is actually I think it's a cheese cutter or a dough scraper. You can get them anywhere. I'll put the links down below once again. And this particular one has a very handy dandy measurement, so you could cut your bars to a specific size if you wanted to. So I just kind of, I try and keep my bars at about 4 to 4.5 ounces. Yep, very soft. These bars are going to have to sit for about a month. And I have an unused shelf in my kitchen. I'm just going to sit them on there and let them cure. And what that means is that the water is evaporating out of the individual bars and they get harder. I'll have a nice little leftover end piece for next to my sink. So that was 1.5 pounds of soap, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars out of it and a remnant. You can see it's pretty moist soap. It's got chock full of all those oils in it. But we'll let this sit in my kitchen on a shelf, let the air circulate for about a month. They'll harden up. And then in another video, I'll show you how we package them and get them ready to be shipped off. Hope you found this informative.